Hi guys, Pete here, N6QW, and we have another National radio here. This is the NCX200. I decided to pull that out of the box. I put the NCX5 back up on the shelf. And this one, cosmetically, the panel's pretty clean, although that's kind of dirty, as you can see. I got this for not too much money. And I think one of the first things... This is the contest this weekend. I think it's a QSO party for California contest weekend. Anyway, kind of interesting about this. Its specifications indicate that it will drift about a 1.5 kilohertz from turn on to about 1 hour after turn on. So that's quite a bit. That's quite significant. And then they said thereafter it'll drift 400 hertz in any 1 hour period. So I mean, this thing could be drifting all over the band, and it was pretty sad to see that they got about $400 for this when they were first sold. I think the production run ran from 66 to 69. Thing that's kind of interesting is they don't use a offset dial. In other words, the dial readings everywhere you look is like 3.8, 7.3, 14.2, but the dial is not linear as such, because at the high end of the band the tick marks are wider than at the low end of the band. So you have a lot of band spread in parts of the band you won't operate. For instance, here is 14.1 or 4.1 to 7.0, 4.5. Tick marks are, you can see those are quite wide, and as we go the other direction they get smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. So this is like a 50 kilohertz spread from here to here, and man, you couldn't interpolate those tick marks if your life depended on it. Anyway, I made a few contacts with it. We again have a problem with the AGC. I since changed out a capacitor, and I noted underneath there that someone had tack soldered another capacitor, so this must have been a problem before, and I put a larger value. Normally it's supposed to be 100 nanofarads, and I put 474 in there, and it gives a pretty fast attack, and it slowed it down a little bit. Before, that thing was just bouncing back and forth. So anyway, Pete here, N6QW. I decided to just test this out today, and it made a couple of contacts with it. Again, this contest weekend, so you get a 5.9 and some report and some location, but not much time to delve into what the signal quality looks like. But band must be short because this is 20 meters, and we're hearing stations in Northern California and in Oregon. Don't know how this works on CW, but there was a problem. There had to be an alignment on the NCX5, and that is when you get into the CW portion of the band, you could hardly get any drive. But yet you get in the middle of the band and plenty of drive, you can get 100 watts out of it. Which indicates to me is some of the tune networks, like in the driver stages and what have you, need to be adjusted. That they seem to be favoring the higher end of the band, not the lower end. This might have the same situation here. But anyway, it was $400. We're down in the CW portion of the 20 meter end. The thing that's also interesting, none of these rigs had side tone. This one is manual switchover. The NCX5 didn't have a side tone either, but as soon as you hit the key, it went into the transmit. This here, you have to hit the MOX button and then start keying for CW. Of note, someone who wants to operate AM, this does have AM on it, so be kind of an interesting rig. I didn't pay too much for this, and I always thought it was better than the NCX3. I owned my first NCX3 in 1963 when I went to Midway Island. The Navy had a deal that if you were in the service through special services, you could get an NCX3 and a power supply for $170. So I was looking at a Swan 240 or the NCX3, and the price with the power supply was a lot less. And I rue that purchase decision because it was a piece of crap. It was a brand new radio, but a piece of crap. And I got another one when I bought the NCXA supply that's being used on here. I got the supply and the NCX3 for $69, and now I know why, because that was not much better than what I had in 1963 with a new in-box radio. Anyway, Pete here, N6QW, and actually it sounds pretty good on CW. There's FT8. Contest 7. Pretty quiet. Mobile. Anyway, Pete here, N6QW. This is the NCX200. All right, I'll be signing off here.